Welcome to PaddyCast. On this episode, we have the superstar, well, superstar in my eyes anyway, uh, Bellator MMA fighter Leah McCourt. How are you, Leah?
I'm okay. Struggling along and locked in my house.
Are you getting any training done?
Do you know what? I actually am, but as much as I'm training, I'm eating because nobody's checking my weight or my diet. So I'm training loads, but I'm eating loads as well.
See, how would you do it? So obviously, combat sport, it's a weight making sport. Like in my experience, I used to weigh every morning and
Did
test
you?
every morning would feel.
Right. So that is like what you should do,
Yeah,
but the scales give me PTSD. I see them and I have to I weigh myself maybe the last 8 weeks. I can't do it before then. I can't go near them. I hate them so much. So I start weighing myself and text my nutritionist, but I would only do it once a week. But I've started doing it more regularly because the more regular, the more accountability. You have more accountability because you're
yeah.
looking at the number you are, and rather than putting up your top and guessing what weight you are.
Here, do you have a nutritionist?
Yeah, I do. I've used a girl in Dublin because female weight cutting is a bit different from male weight cutting
Yeah,
because with our hormones and our different times of the month, and you've got we retain water at different times of the month differently, and
yeah,
it's it is when I say to the boys, it's so much harder for me to cut weight than you. They're like, no, it isn't. It's like, no, it literally it's a scientific fact that it is
yeah.
a lot
Definitely
harder
it is.
for females to cut weight, but yeah, it's the worst part about fighting, isn't it?
Exactly. And see, you fight a featherweight, don't you?
Yeah, so 65 kilo, yeah.
I thought it was 64 for some reason. But
No,
okay, you're massive for like.
yeah,
I'm sure
massive.
it's hard for you to get down that weight.
Yeah, because in MMA, there's only really two in Bellator. There's only two female weight classes, and one of them's 57 kilos, and one of them's 65. So they're two really light weight classes. So if you don't make either of those weight classes, you don't fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you have to. Um, Whereas the guys, there's like maybe 13, 14 weight classes they can go
yeah.
between. So it is harder for us.
Man. So tell me, so I want to know how you get started in your career. From a young age, right up until like your current situation now.
Yeah. So I always loved all martial arts. I always watched like all the different boxing and everything in the Olympics. I always wanted to be an athlete, but my dad had three daughters, and growing up he wanted us to know how to defend ourselves.
Yeah,
So he always said he made us go and do judo. Like I hated judo. Like I hated doing it. And I used to be so good at it because when we used to do competitions, I used to go in and try and get it over and done with as quick as possible and throw them and get out of there. So I did that for years and years. And then after I had Isabella, I always wanted to learn. I used to watch like Bruce Lee movies and I used to go and watch the box with my granddad like in the King's Hall. And I used to always want to learn how to like do striking or
yeah,
kickboxing. So when I had my daughter Isabella at 18, I started training in an MMA gym, and like anything I do, I just become obsessed with it. Become obsessed with learning Muay Thai and boxing. And when the guys seen how like obsessive and disciplined I was with
yeah,
learning that, and they heard I had a grappling background, they kind of threw me in an Indian MMA fight. Like my first fight was in the Ulster Hall in Belfast, like the first female MMA fight. Like looking back, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd sparred about twice. Like it was just the most crazy experience ever. And just from there, I just kept training so much. And um, I went on to win the amateur world championships in Las Vegas and the European championships, and then I turned professional. So um, I really loved it. I loved the training. I loved the challenge. I love it's such a different route and different way
yeah.
to kind of train. I just loved it.
Like because like basically you could argue like you're a woman in a man's sport. Like, well, sorry,
Yeah,
not a man's sport,
totally.
but like a male dominant sport. Like, do you feel like
Yeah,
there's extra pressure on you to prove yourself?
yeah, I do. And even the likes of when you're in training, I don't have female sparring partners. Like I,
Yeah,
I know in boxing, if you're 1 kilo or 2 kilos heavier, you don't really. I don't know if you spar with each other. I'm literally sparring guys. like I never went around in training. I'm always getting smashed in training, sparring. Like I'm coming out. I like for years I've always like come out crying after training, after sparring. Like just like,
Yeah.
but that's what I don't know. It's just you have to be a certain type of crazy, I think, to want to or to keep pushing through that and keep
Yeah.
kind of being successful. But it definitely is a man's sport, you know, and there's not been that many opportunities for females, and it's
Yeah.
in the last couple of years there has. I do feel like MMA is there's a bit more equality because they're respected because people know how hard
Yeah.
the training is and how hard the sport is, and just even the likes of Bellator give me that opportunity to headline a 3 Arena in Dublin in February. That was just showed that they are a bit ahead of other sports, I think, as well.
Yeah. Like as I say, you highlighted the show, in Dublin. Um, like it just shows like yourself in Ireland. You're like from an MMA point of view, you're leading the way for females coming through the ranks in that sport, which is brilliant to see.
I know, you know, it's people say, do you want like to inspire others, but it's like I think a lot of girls do. I teach ladies classes and they come and learn it just for self-defense reasons.
Yeah.
I never want to encourage people to fight. I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to go in and be a mixed martial arts fighter. Not everybody can be a fighter, but I think I like encouraging females and women to learn self-defense and like get so much confidence from being able to come in and do a bit of training and learn how to defend themselves.
Yeah, I suppose it's something different because people go to like boxer size instead of going to the gym because it's more enjoyable getting fit. Same way as they go to your class and
Yeah,
they enjoy it more, get fit.
yeah, and I think females aren't wanting to do the typical hockey or netball. They're wanting to learn boxing, or they're wanting to learn jiu-jitsu, or they're wanting to
Yeah,
learn, sports that they've maybe felt they can't do in the past because it's only for guys.
yeah.
It's good that there's more females getting involved and they're enjoying it.
Well, it's good that Bellator give you that platform because it shows that if a female wants to join MMA, sure, they, they are being recognised as the same
Yeah,
as like yourself. So you can say like Kate Taylor led the way in Ireland for female boxing. Arguably, you are leading the way in MMA, which is
yeah,
great.
and like I wasn't. It wasn't that it was James Gallagher was headline
Yeah,
about Bellator Dublin, and it was like 5 weeks before he got injured, and I remember thinking because I was on the main card, and people were saying, "What's Leah doing on the main card?" Like people were surprised I was even on the main card of that fight, and like 5 weeks out, I was thinking, who they have to get like a massive star to fill James's boots. Who are they going to get? I don't know who they're going. I was thinking of all the fighters, and then I was like, no, they've got fights coming up, or they've just fought, and like
yeah,
they give me that opportunity to take all that pressure, that media pressure to keep the card going ahead. It was great
yeah,
to see, and there was loads of positive media from it. I thought there would be a lot of people saying, "What's Leah? There's far more experienced fighters on the card and blah blah blah," but everybody was dead supportive, and it was a
yeah.
good thing. And there were so many females there, and mums and daughters, and it was so nice to see.
Yeah, well, first, like, I'm not a massive follower of MMA, but like, I would follow like you, James Gallagher, Darren Till, and a few others who I know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and like when I heard that you were head of the car, I thought it was unbelievable. The feedback I got from like my mates and all, who are all in
yeah,
the MMA, like they all thought it was brilliant, especially someone from
yeah.
here who you even know as well.
I
Uh,
know it was really special. Like, and I always just fight and then move on to the next thing. I never really take it in too much. As in the last couple of weeks, I really took it in like that. It was
yeah,
such a great night and great like thing to say I've done, in my career. So especially so early in my career, I thought maybe it would happen 3 years down the line, or
yeah.
maybe for a title fight. But to be given it so early in my career was pretty
Fourth
special.
fight was it?
It's probably my 15th MMA fight, but it's my fifth. It was my fifth professional MMA fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fifth professional, right? That's right. Like, see, obviously, when you were announced, it was so exciting. You're fighting top of the bill, like, but did you feel any extra pressure, like not from anyone else, but yourself, having to perform on a massive stage, head and act?
Yeah, do you know, like nobody will put pressure on me like I put myself. Like I expect so much for myself and put so much. I take so much on. Do you know,
Yeah,
just in I live in Belfast, obviously, and I drive to Dublin every day to train. Like, and you know, see with like the extra media pressure, the extra, just everything that went along with it. Even on fight week, you were getting up at 6 o'clock to go and do TV shows when you're normally up doing cutting weight. Do you know, in the
yeah,
mornings of fight week and things like that. I found difficult, but I kind of just was like, I'm quite driven. It was kind of like a steam train, just like let's get it done, and kept ticking the boxes. But on the night, it definitely felt different. You know, going out and
yeah.
knowing you were walking out to make history. It was
Class.
crazy.
So there you go. Like Bellator have put you in that pedestal now, so they can't take you off it. You
Yeah,
have to be at the
no.
top of the car now all the time, or up there. You know what I mean?
I know. Oh my. Well, sure. I was meant to be fighting. Me and James were both meant to be fighting in Wembley this Saturday at Bellator London. Massive Bellator card they had. You know, we were both in the main card, and
Yeah.
that's not going ahead and got it this week. But what can you do?
Like, see, when you're growing up and you get in the MMA, like, no one in your family done, like, well, your granny, you said, like, done boxing, but no one else do contact sports, no?
No, nobody. It was literally so my background obviously is judo. So I had a bit of grappling wrestling
Yeah.
background, but that was it. No, my dad just he wanted us to all be able to look after ourselves.
So, might send my kids as well in.
Hello.
Uh, so see, you're training in Dublin, obviously, yeah,
Yeah, so I train with Ray again, boxing. I do with
yeah.
Ray in Belfast, but MMA. My head coach is Owen in Dublin. Yeah.
And down there, would you train with like Sinead Cavanagh and that?
So there's a few different SPGs. Now Owen has his own. It's kind of this side of Dublin. It's just past the
Okay.
airport, and Owen is like one of the world's best striking coaches. So obviously, with my grappling background, I thought, right, after I kind of won the worlds, the Europeans at amateur level, I was like, right, what do I need to do here? How am I going to get better? What's going to take me to the top? You know, it's like that saying, the worst thing you can do is just keep doing the same thing. So I
Yeah.
knew I needed to change up my training. So I decided to move down to Owen's gym after my first professional fight,
Yeah.
but because of his striking pedigree. But Sinead trains in the SPG in Shakur. It's kind of the other side of Dublin, but we would spar together.
Yeah, actually,
Um,
I was in that one, so I was.
yeah. Oh, were you? Yeah, the
Yeah.
main one. Yeah. Um, we've sparred together, and I was actually in Israel in November. I did her quarter. She was fighting in a big Bellator show in Israel as well. So
Yeah.
we would kind of help each other out.
Yeah, because I remember like being on the team with Sinead, and like
Yeah.
I used to spar. It was too fast for her, but she could punch very, very hard, and she
Oh,
could punch.
oh, she can punch. I think I've never think I've ever been hit as hard as Sinead hit me, and it was with the small MMA
Uh,
gloves on. I was like, oh my word.
well, she hit me with
She's
big,
very
big
good.
gloves on, and I felt it.
She can really hit. People are saying about me for a title shot, but like me and Sinead are in the same division of Bellator. I think she deserves one before me. You know, she's
Yeah.
she's a bit further down her professional career, and maybe doesn't get the recognition she deserves. Like she's
Yeah.
such a high level fighter, and she's like, I really love Sinead. Like I hope she, is successful and gets her shot as well.
Yeah, David is a very good friend of mine too, because I've say
Yeah.
the team for a lot of years.
Oh, she boxed in the Irish team, didn't
Yeah,
she?
this has been a way
Yeah.
European up there too. Like says boxing has level, like
She's class.
brilliant. See, like I don't know if it's true or not, but I think it is true. See, when you turn professional, you lost your first fight, am I right? As a pro,
Yeah, yeah.
that's right.
Like,
So how did it affect you? Because obviously you're coming into the pro ranks as the current world amateur champion.
that's right. Yeah,
So if you to lose your debut, but
yeah.
nothing that then tailed behind you, how did that affect you?
Oh my word! Like, it was honestly one of the most horrendous things that have ever happened. And do you know, it was the most heartbreaking, horrendous loss. Like, I was really hurt after that loss. Like, I had broke
Yeah.
my collarbone. And actually, like, I had, like, my face was in bits. Like, I was coming in, there was so much hype around me, there was so much pressure. And I went in, and I swear to God, 10 seconds in, I couldn't lift my arms. Like, I just felt, I just had the biggest, I don't know whether it was an adrenaline dump or I was just completely
Yeah.
out of my depth, drained. I just was so in such a bad place. Like, I couldn't even defend myself in that fight. And, you know, it was awful. You know, I was coming out of that and I was so embarrassed. Like, I always say, you go into the cage and you never come out the same. You're either someone's highlight reel finish, or you've won and you're on such an up, and you
Yeah.
know there's so many big opportunities coming. And I just didn't know how I was going to come back from that, because it was such a bad loss, and I lost, you know, to a girl that I probably shouldn't have lost against. But looking back, she's went on and she's done like unbelievable. But that was the turning point where I decided, right, I need to make changes in my training. And then you
Yeah.
have to be ruthless with your training and be realistic. And I just thought, right, I need to do this, this, and this, and I made the changes that I needed to. And then I went on to win like 4 in a row now. So, you know, it's just, and I think to be a good champion, you have to be a good loser. You have to know how to come back from a loss, especially in
Yeah.
MMA, because you can lose in so many different ways. You can't take it to heart. You have to, like, get over it quite quickly, because you can sit and feel sorry for yourself, or you can try
Yeah.
and get better and make the changes. And you can see that in a lot of the MMA champions as well. Do you know, the ones that are winning now, like the Masvidal or Justin Gaethje, like, they have a lot of losses on their records,
Yeah.
but they're you know, on the up. They're beating the guys that everybody thought were unbeatable.
But that's great, because like from losing your first 4 in a row, bang, top of Bellator card in Dublin. So
I know, it's surreal. I
what a
still can't
journey!
believe
What a
it.
journey! Here,
I
when
know.
you're in Dublin training, and even in Belfast when Ray had you in the Posnet, like, who would you spar, like boxing ways for striking and that?
Do you know what, actually, I actually don't really have many sparring partners. Ray usually puts on the gloves, and see when he starts to take the piss or he's going too hard, I do kick him, or I take him down. I'm like, Ray, stop taking liberties.
Oh, brilliant!
Ray goes about 10% and helps me out boxing, but down in Dublin I'm sparring mostly the pros in the gym, the guys, like, and
But you know what? See,
getting battered.
you're sparring a fella that there, like, you know, I think one of the reasons Katie Taylor's so good is because, like, she's constantly sparring like males, so I think
Yeah,
that's give her the edge over
yeah,
females.
she's
And
unbelievable. Yeah.
you had like the Russian teams and Kazakhstan teams, massive girls teams, like loads of girls to choose from, so they're sparring each other.
Oh,
Whereas in
really?
Ireland,
Yeah,
yeah, in Ireland they didn't have that. Like Katie, Alan Audley, like they sparred us. So
yeah,
that's what I mean. So I think for you, like, maybe speaking of turn here, but I think for you sparring males, it's going to help you greatly too.
yeah. I hope so. Like, and yeah, but would you have went hard back? Would you have, like, give it to the girls?
Uh, you should ask them. You should ask them that question. Did they hold back on me?
Ah,
No, I'll tell you a story actually. I was Kate Taylor was going to the World Championships, so her dad got her down for me to spar and brought Maury down, and so we were tied to each other, so we couldn't get away. So it was a distance
no
spar.
way.
But she threw a hook, and her arm was caught in the rope, so she was opened. No, I thrown everything at her, everything, and her dad was laughing. So see with the Kate Taylor, you can't hold back. You need to try and kill her. That's it.
Oh my God, she's unbelievable. She's
I know.
amazing. I
She's
love
fantastic.
Katie Taylor.
She's good, like nearly as good as me, like, but she's good. Here, tell me. So let's talk about the peak and pit of your career. So,
Okay.
want to know about your lowest point in your career and the highest point.
So my lowest point was probably waking up the morning after my professional debut, and I was lying in this hotel room, and I could hardly breathe because I broke my collarbone, and
Yeah,
there was pressure on my chest. My face was out to here. I mean, the pain I was in, my whole body, but nothing compared to the pain in my heart. Like, I was so heartbroken. I was devastated. It was the worst feeling in the world. Because I was in the fighters' hotel. I was like, I was mortified. I didn't want to see anybody. I wanted to just run out of the hotel and go to the airport. So I remember like getting up, and my coach had to like help me get dressed. I couldn't move my arms, and my body was so sore. So they dressed me, and I like ran to the airport with my glasses on, and was like, for about a week I couldn't even show Isabella on my face because my eyes were so bad. That was definitely the worst.
See, you were saying that was your worst. Like, see, who was your support team around you, like helping you come through something like that?
So I like, this is what I say I win for my team. Like, I have the best friends. Like, I have 3 really good friends. I have Molly McCann, she's in the UFC, and my other best friend Una, she's been there from the very start of my career, and she is just like my mentor, my best friend, my mom, my manager. Like, I don't have a manager. I manage myself and do all my contracts myself, but we always, everything I do, I rely on her, and she's just like that word of wisdom in my ear all the time, and believes in me no matter what. Even before my professional or before my Bellator debut in last February, I tore my rotator cuff 4 weeks before the fight, and I couldn't lift my arm. People were helping me get dressed in the morning, and I was going to an oxygen chamber, sitting in an oxygen chamber with people I paid like hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and for like 2 weeks couldn't train, couldn't spar, and she was telling me, you can win this, you can do this, you can go in and do it. And Ray will tell you, he was going, Leah, you're mad, you shouldn't be fighting. And like, what are you doing? Like, if you were my fighter, I'd be pulling you from this fight, like shouting at me. And then I went out and won in the first round. Like, it was like, she's that person that's always there, like making or encouraging me and saying I can achieve anything. So I have very, very good friends and family around me.
So what you're talking about your pit. So what was your best moment of your career
then? It was definitely having Isabella run into the cage in my last fight. Because Isabella doesn't come to any of my fights, or she doesn't come to fight week. No, or I think it's a lot for her head, especially in MMA. She doesn't really understand that it's a lot for a kid to take in. So when I heard about, I was getting the main event slot, I was like, right, this is history. Like, Isabella and my mum and everybody's going to have to come down. But when I got that call, I kept visualizing in my head Isabella. Like, so this is another mental story. The day I got the call about being the main event, I went to sparring that night, and I did a takedown, and my head cracked off the person I threw head and cracked my orbital bone. And I had so much media to do. I couldn't do media. I had to, like, my eye was like out to here, and like, even through all that, I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna win. Isabella's gonna run in the cage. Like, and it was definitely her running in the cage after my win in Dublin in the last fight.
That's brilliant, unreal. That's good. Like this, it's good, especially like the biggest one of your career. Your daughter got to see it, because as well, it was a bit of history as well being made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know it is. It is really special.
What did your daughter think of you being like an MMA fighter?
I think she's just, because I've been her whole life. She's used to it. She does think it's cool, and like her wee mates and all, when they see us on TV or see her on TV, like, she thinks it's funny. Yeah, she likes it.
Class. So tell me, how do you cope like with your training camps and like fighting camps, like away from your kid and all, and your fans? It's tough.
So like, yous all go away, don't you, to do your fight camps?
We train for like 12 weeks away.
That's like, what I do is just, I really felt the toll in the last camp. See, was doing like the media and doing the drive and the Dublin and back, and having Isabella. I was coaching classes. I was trying to get sessions. It was just, I felt it a lot. I actually said, I'm never doing this again. I can't perform at the highest level and do what I'm doing, the driving, wasting so much energy. So I was like, right, before this fight in London, I'm going to go to Thailand and do my camp for like 4 or 6 weeks and just stay out there, because I did the summer out there in Tiger Muay Thai. It's a really, really high level gym. They actually have an Irish boxing coach out there, John Boy. Do you know him? No.
In
Of
Thailand?
yeah, the boxing coach is an Irish guy.
Is it Phuket or something? Or is that,
Yeah, in
uh,
Phuket.
I
Yeah.
don't think I know him, but I know of him. But
Yeah, so I'm very good friends with him because I met him out there last, and he trains a lot of the UFC fighters.
yeah,
So I was like, right, I'm going to go out and do a part of most of my camp out in Thailand, but obviously this fight didn't go ahead, and it didn't get to go out there. But it's so hard managing it. Like, could you imagine like doing all that driving and looking after the kids and fighting and being tired, and then them not realizing why you're so tired? It's just so hard.
I know. And you know what? See, as you're saying out there, like I was lucky. I got like a good sponsorship deal behind me, so I was able to train
Yeah.
at home. But like yourself, I think obviously have you an agent?
Do you mean what's no, I do
Commercially?
everything myself. No.
Like, see if you imagine like your camps are in Dublin, right? But if you got a sponsored apartment or sponsored money for an apartment in Dublin,
See,
so
that would be like perfect, yeah. I know
yeah,
if I had something like that or something flipping a petrol sponsor would
because
help
like
me.
the likes of like Terry McKenna and Trumba McCullough, they box in Bray, which is in
Yeah.
Dublin, and they would like rent an apartment in Dublin. So
We'll
like
do the
I tried to get them a sponsor before, but it never came about. But I think definitely, I think you should try something out there because if it's
yeah.
really, like it costs too much money, like funding for yourself, like you know what I mean. But
It's like 120 quid a week getting petrol to go up and down to Dublin. It's
ah,
crazy.
ridiculous. But if you were able to stay down out there in Dublin for the week, like your energy and training out there, it'd be
Yeah,
far better. But on the flip
definitely.
side, you're probably missing your daughter. You know what I mean? Making
Yeah.
different arrangements, but you
But
know
who knows what's going to happen now? We can't even leave the house. Never mind go to Dublin.
exactly. Are you getting it all in, or just what's the crack there?
Well, I've got a garage and I've got a boxing bag and I've got a speed bag and I got a spar bar from my back garden. I'm doing sprints and some strength and conditioning, but
Yeah,
it's not the same as getting your sparring and your wrestling and your jiu-jitsu and all in. It
yeah.
is hard, but Bellator are talking about doing studio shows behind closed doors. It's going to be in LA in July, so hopefully Trump lifts this travel ban. And I've got my American visa to fight out there, so I'm hoping to be fighting in July again.
Oh,
Fingers
what do you
crossed.
feel about that there? Behind closed doors.
Um, I don't care. Like I just to fight, like I wouldn't care. No,
So
would be weird, wouldn't it?
it'd be surreal. It'd be really, really strange. Cause like,
But see in amateurs, there was no real crowd. Do you know there was no real? It was a bit like that.
yeah, suppose like I remember when the European Championships amateurs. I feel like there's only a couple hundred people there. Like, you know what I mean? For
Yeah.
European final, but pros it's different setup altogether. You know what I mean?
I know from going to 10,000 people in the three arena to nobody, and it's a bit crazy.
Hello. Tell me this. So, what's next for you? Obviously you're on lockdown. You're meant to fight in July, was it? Are you
Well,
be fighting in
ho-
July?
hopefully, I'm going to be fighting the girl I was meant to be fighting this weekend. Hopefully, I'm like speaking it into existence that
Yeah.
Trump lifts the travel ban and we can all get into America to fight and Corona goes away. Hopefully.
You meant to fight on the card? No, actually, that's UFC. Darren Till was meant to fight in Dublin.
So he was meant to be, yeah, that's right, in August.
Yeah,
That card obviously can't go ahead now. Got it. Would
but
have been unbelievable.
people getting confused. People who don't know MMA, like are like Bellator and UFC. They
They're
compare it, but
two. They're just two different
promotion companies.
promotions. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no real difference, is there? No.
Well, there's just they're the two top ones.
Yeah,
People have their own opinions on who's better, but they're two promotions, and not one promotion has all the best fighters. Like they would be there's a couple other ones over in like Asian things. It's
yeah,
like it's like boxing. There's different promoters, isn't there? Is that
yeah,
right? Is
yeah,
that way it works?
yeah. Well, in boxing there is, but in the boxing sense, you could probably say like the belts, WBC, WBO, like
Oh,
are
right. Okay.
identities, if you know what I mean. Um, But tell me this, actually, it's something I want to ask you. Obviously, you won your world title as an amateur in Vegas. You know, how good would it be, do you think, to win a professional world title in Vegas as well?
Oh, that like that people say like what's your dream, and it is like I won the amateur world championships, and I mean I did that 13 weeks or 14 weeks after having knee surgery, and I remember going into those fights and thinking these have I have to get these fights over quick because I don't know if my knee is gonna last. And I was
Yeah.
like, I got 3 first round finishes, thank goodness, in those in that. But like that was one of the best. That was definitely one of the best. You know, apart from Isabella coming in at my last fight, that was one of the
Yeah.
highlights of my career. But yeah, it definitely is to be the professional world champion. That's like the dream.
See, and the amateurs are, see, like, you fought like 4 times over. Do you have to weigh in every day?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had to get
because
up at like
same with
6.
amateur boxing too.
Her I keep saying like the IMAFs are the hardest tournaments, like they're the hardest things I've ever done, and you're getting up and you don't know who you're fighting, you don't know what country they're from, you don't know what they're like, you've never seen them before. Do you know, it's crazy.
Like,
It's crazy.
see, in the amateur setup too, who would be the best nation?
um so a lot of the Ireland would have a really strong
Yeah.
team. Oh, sorry, Molly's just ringing me.
All right.
um Ireland would have a strong team. The likes of the grappling wrestling countries like Kazakhstan, Russia, like they've strong teams as well. It just depends. You know, there's different styles. So the Irish would be kind of strikers. The
Yeah.
wrestlers would come from like Russia, Dagestan. It's really exciting amateur fights because these guys they're not big names, they're not known, they're just young guys coming in. They're monsters.
Each
Like
other.
see the amateurs now are unbelievable. Yeah.
Here, would you ever fancy a boxing match?
No.
No. Why not?
I'm a grappler, so when I go in, I want to take them down. I
Uh,
want to, I don't know. I would maybe like it to try, but I wouldn't want a whole load of pressure or people watching me. Like, I would love to do it for me, to go in and
yeah.
see how I would do. I wouldn't want, like, to be a professional boxer or anything, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Just have.
Have you ever,
Because
have you ever tried jiu-jitsu or wrestling? No?
I would be heart free if someone named me, or
Yeah.
and I won't like that knees, all the ribs. I can't even take a punch to the ribs. Here,
So sore.
see, like, actually, the girl just phoned you, Molly. Is it Meatball Molly?
Yeah.
No,
Yes, that's right.
I was training in Manchester in Salford, and she was sparring the girl Chantal Cameron. I,
Oh, I love
I didn't
yeah,
know
no
who Molly was,
Chantal.
but someone said, "Oh, she's a UFC fighter or something." I
Yeah.
was sparring, and she really impressed me. Her boxing skills were very, very good, actually.
Oh, she's done. Have you seen her fight?
Actually, I haven't seen her fight.
Molly.
Just I watched her spar, and I thought she was very, very good.
Oh, she's a striker. So we're best friends. We would do our training camps together. So she's you want to see her fight? She's unbelievable, and her
Yeah.
boxing. She's going in screaming, "Come on!" Giving them the finger and all in the middle of it. She's such a character. But yeah, she's class. I know. I know. We have a group chat. Me, her, and Chantel, and Molly's partner. We're all complaining about being fat and not fighting at the minute.
Nah, Chantel, Molly, like, nice girl. Like, I met them. They're really nice girls. Like, here,
Chantel's class, isn't she?
she's brilliant. She's brilliant. What about the time? Someone told me a story, right? I want you to tell me a bit more about it. But the time that
Okay.
you booked into an Airbnb in the Bronx and you got taken hostage at gunpoint.
I told you.
I can't tell you that. I have sources everywhere.
So no, wait to hear what happened. So we got so I was competing in the Pan Ams I fight in MMA, but I compete in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu as well. So
Yeah.
I was in New York going to do the Pan American Championships, really, really big tournament. So me and my best friend, we were going to, and it said home away from home. Didn't tell you it was in the Bronx, just said it was in New York. And had all these amazing photos. It was expensive because it was New York, and I was like, right, sure. It was like one of the only ones left. So when we arrived, you know the way you only get the address after you book it.
Yeah.
So the address came through the Bronx, and I went, what the fuck have we've just been catfished, like this is obviously going to be awful. Like, little did I know it was worse than awful. Like, we arrived there and it was pissing rain outside, and this guy, and like I can't even tell you what was happening in the streets around it, like people fighting, people staring at these two wee white girls with blonde hair putting their wee suitcases along. And I went in and the guy was like, okay girls, I'll show you to your room. So he took us like down to a cellar, and if you I wish I could show you the photos of what it was like. It was like there was like holes in the walls, there was weird like pictures, and then there was like three Mexican men and sitting downstairs, and there was like food lying everywhere. And I was like, he showed us into our room, and there was a hole from like the outside pavement into our room, so obviously rats running in and out.
Jesus
There
Christ.
was like holes in the ceiling, and he had took our passports, and I was like, what? I was like, oh, why is there men in the same apartment? Like, this isn't okay. And he goes, oh well, if you don't like this, you can go upstairs. So we went upstairs, and there was another 3 bedrooms with no doors on them, and there was men staying there as well. And we paid like £700 to stay here for 5 nights. And I was like, we went downstairs, and me and my best friend were like crying. We were like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So we like ran an Airbnb. We can't stay here. There's men in this apartment. They're so weird. They weren't speaking to us. So we got all our stuff and I said to the guy, can I just borrow my passport a minute? Grabbed our stuff. He went upstairs to check something. We started running through the Bronx, and I mean sprinting with our suitcases instead of running from this Airbnb. And because it was New York Fashion Week and New York tennis, the American Open or something,
Yeah.
no, we couldn't get anywhere. Like even a hostel, we rang and they were like, there's absolutely nowhere you can stay. And we went to a cafe and we're sitting crying for like 3 hours. And Airbnb rang us and we're like, listen, we're so sorry about this. We've booked you into a hotel. And they sent us where they'd booked us into. It was a $500 a night hotel overlooking the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, we went to this place and it was like something I've never seen before. And we opened because we arrived there at like 2 o'clock in the morning after like crying in the Bronx all day, and we opened the like curtains, and it was like the whole Brooklyn Bridge. I've a photo of it. It was just the most crazy experience ever. But there was no guns involved, but there was very strange men.
You should just say there's guns involved. It makes the story sound better.
I might actually add that into it next time.
We'll do a quick fire round, right?
Okay.
Okay, so if you could choose a different sport, what would it be?
Probably boxing.
Boxing.
Not really a different sport, is it?
Who is your greatest rival?
Oh my gosh, that's a really hard one. I don't know. My rival? My next opponent at the minute.
Next opponent, yeah. When you get her. Do you have any pre-fight superstitions?
No.
No. Do you have a favorite quote or a favorite saying?
Oh, I love quotes. This is a really hard quick fire round. What's my favorite saying? Find a way or make a way.
I like it. Who's your favorite sports person, past or present?
So I actually love watching the greats. I love watching like Mike Tyson. I love watching. Have you been watching The Last Dance? No.
No.
Michael Jordan, watching him. I love watching all the guys.
Someone was telling me that they actually Last Dance going to be brilliant.
Yeah. I'll probably say Kobe Bryant. Watching him and his mentality and his I watch a lot of his interviews and things. Probably him. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, so what's that done? But before that's basically it ended. But before you go, I wanted to tell you what happened, or tell everyone what happens when you ignore the oil light for ages in your car.
Oh my on. This is so my nickname is the Curse, and this is why, because these crazy things happened to me. So I was driving to my first sparring session for my Bellator debut, and I thought, I didn't realize it was a big deal to keep your